What if one of the most dangerous habits in your kitchen isn't what you eat, but what you reheat? Every day, billions of people warm up leftovers without giving it a second thought. Most believe that once food is steaming hot, it's automatically safe to eat. But that isn't always true. Here's a statistic that's hard to ignore. Roughly 1 in 6 cancer cases worldwide has been linked to dietary and lifestyle factors, making diet one of the biggest preventable influences on long-term health. While no single reheated meal causes cancer, the way certain foods are stored, handled, and reheated can affect their nutritional quality and, in some cases, lead to the formation of unwanted compounds. The surprising part? These changes happen silently. You won't see a warning sign. There won't be a strange smell or an unusual taste. Your leftovers can look perfectly normal while important chemical changes have already taken place. In today's video, we'll uncover which foods deserve extra caution when reheating, which ones are generally safe, and the simple kitchen habits experts recommend to help protect your health. The final food on this list surprises most people because it's found in millions of refrigerators every single day. Let's get started. My name is Dr. Stephen Clark. I have spent more than 15 years studying nutritional biochemistry and the relationship between food science and preventive oncology. Today, I'm going to show you 4 foods that you are almost certainly reheating. Foods that are probably sitting in your refrigerator right now, which undergo documented, scientifically verified chemical transformations when reheated. Transformations that carry a measurable cancer risk. Stay with me until the end of this video because the 4th food on this list is one that almost every health-conscious person believes is completely safe. That belief, however, is dangerously mistaken. Before we go any further, I want you to understand something important. This is not about a minor inconvenience. This is not about an upset stomach or temporary food poisoning. What we are discussing is the slow, cumulative buildup of carcinogenic compounds inside your body over months and years. The kind of silent damage that often goes unnoticed until it becomes extremely difficult to reverse. Cancer rarely develops overnight. It is a gradual process, a slow progression. The building blocks of that process, free radicals, advanced glycation end reducts, nitrosamines, and lipid peroxidation byproducts often enter your body not through cigarette smoke or industrial pollution, but through your own kitchen. The World Health Organization has classified several compounds formed during the reheating of certain foods as Group 1 or Group 2A carcinogens. Group 1 means there is conclusive evidence that the substance causes cancer in humans. Group 2A means it is probably carcinogenic to humans. These are not theoretical concerns. They are documented chemical reactions that occur in your kitchen, on your stovetop, or inside your microwave every time the wrong foods are reheated the wrong way. And here is the part that should concern you the most. The people at greatest risk are not those with unusual eating habits. They are ordinary people who believe they are making healthy food choices, lean proteins, cooked vegetables, rice, and eggs. These are the 4 food categories we are going to examine today. After watching this video, you will never look at your leftovers the same way again. Before we continue, let me briefly explain why I am qualified to discuss this topic. Not to impress you, but because in a world overflowing with health misinformation, you deserve to know who is giving you advice and why that advice is credible. I completed my medical training with a focus on internal medicine, followed by advanced fellowship training in nutritional biochemistry. Over the past 15 years, my research has focused specifically on how cooking methods, heat exposure, food storage, and food reheating alter the molecular structure of macronutrients and generate byproducts that interact with human DNA and cellular metabolism. For this video, I have reviewed hundreds of peer-reviewed scientific studies. Every claim I make is supported by published research from respected journals, including Food Chemistry, the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry, Carcinogenesis, and the Lancet Oncology. I will explain the underlying mechanisms in clear, easy-to-understand language because the science is real, the evidence is strong, and you deserve to understand it. I am not here to sell you a supplement. I am not here to scare you into purchasing a course. I am here because preventive medicine begins with knowledge, and the information I'm about to share could genuinely help protect you and your family. Before we discuss the specific foods, I need to give you a brief but essential introduction to food chemistry. Please do not skip this section. It is the key to understanding everything that follows. When food is cooked for the first time, heat produces predictable and generally manageable chemical reactions. Proteins unfold, starches gelatinize, and fats emulsify. These are normal processes. However, when you reheat food that has already undergone these changes, especially food that has been stored in a refrigerator for several hours or even several days, an entirely different set of reactions begins to occur. First, oxidation. Fats and proteins that have been exposed to oxygen during storage become chemically unstable. When heat is applied again, these already damaged molecules break down even further into compounds known as lipid peroxides and malone dialdehyde, both of which are well-documented agents capable of damaging DNA. Second, the Maillard reaction gone wrong. The Maillard reaction is responsible for the rich flavor and appealing brown color of many cooked foods. However, when proteins and sugars are repeatedly exposed to high temperatures, they can produce compounds known as advanced glycation end products, AES. These compounds promote chronic inflammation, one of the major biological drivers of cancer development. Third, nitrite conversion. Certain foods, particularly those naturally high in nitrates, undergo bacterial conversion while they are stored in a refrigerator. When these foods are reheated, the nitrates are converted into nitrites, which can then be further transformed into nitrosamines, compounds that the World Health Organization classifies as probable or confirmed carcinogens. 3 mechanisms: oxidation, advanced glycation, nitrosamine formation. Keep these 3 terms in mind as we go through each food, because you will see one or more of these mechanisms involved in every example we discuss. Food number 1, cooked rice. Rice is the most widely consumed staple food on Earth. More than 3 billion people rely on rice as their primary source of calories. Billions of those people reheat leftover rice every single day. It is a deeply ingrained habit across nearly every culture in the world. However, there is a serious problem with this practice, one that has very little to do with the reheating process itself and everything to do with what happens during the time the rice spends in the refrigerator between the first cooking and the second. As cooked rice cools, it becomes an almost ideal environment for the growth of a bacterium known as Bacillus cereus. This is not a rare contaminant. It is naturally present in raw rice. It survives the initial cooking process and can multiply rapidly in cooked rice that is left at room temperature or stored in the refrigerator for extended periods. When you reheat the rice, the heat may kill the bacteria, but it does not destroy the heat-resistant toxins they have already produced. Those toxins survive the microwave, they survive the stovetop, and they enter your digestive system intact. However, while the bacterial risk is significant, it is not the primary cancer concern. The cancer concern is this. Bacillus produces a toxin called cereulide, which laboratory studies have shown can damage the mitochondria inside human cells. Mitochondrial dysfunction is recognized as one of the early biological events that can contribute to malignant cellular transformation, the process by which a healthy cell gradually becomes cancerous. There is another less frequently discussed but equally important concern associated with reheated rice. Repeated heating of starch foods increases the formation of acrylamide, a chemical compound produced when natural sugars react with the amino acid asparagine under high heat. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, classifies acrylamide as a group 2A carcinogen, meaning it is probably carcinogenic to humans. So what should you do instead? Whenever possible, cook rice fresh. If you need to store it, spread it out on a shallow tray immediately after cooking so it cools quickly. Refrigerate it within 1 hour. Consume it within 24 hours and never reheat rice more than once. Food number 2, cooked chicken. Here is something that may surprise you. Chicken is the world's most popular lean protein. Doctors, dietitians, bodybuilders, and health-conscious families all recommend it and frequently build their meals around cooked chicken. And when leftover chicken ends up in the refrigerator, almost everyone reheats it. This is where the problem begins. When proteins, particularly those found in animal muscle tissue, are exposed to high temperatures for a second time, they undergo a process known as protein oxidation. One consequence of this process is the formation of compounds called heterocyclic amines, HCAs. HCAs are not a controversial topic in nutrition science. They are among the most extensively researched dietary carcinogens in the scientific literature. Once HCAs enter the body, liver enzymes metabolize them into highly reactive compounds that can bind directly to DNA. This interaction with DNA can produce genetic mutations. Mutations affecting critical genes, especially tumor suppressor genes, represent one of the primary mechanisms through which cancer begins. A landmark study published in Carcinogenesis found that individuals who frequently consumed well-done or reheated poultry had a statistically significant increase in the risk of colorectal cancer. A separate analysis conducted by the Harvard Chan School of Public Health found that frequent consumption of reheated processed chicken was associated with an increased risk of pancreatic cancer, one of the deadliest forms of cancer with a 5-year survival rate of only 11%. Foods number 3 and 4 are the ones most people misunderstand. Food number 3 primarily affects people who take pride in maintaining a clean, healthy diet. Food number 4 is something that nutritionists and physicians routinely recommend eating, yet the risks associated with reheating it remain almost completely unknown to the general public. If you find this type of evidence-based practical health information valuable, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. I publish one new video every week and each one follows the same approach as this video. Peer-reviewed scientific research translated into practical information that you can actually apply. No hype, no supplements, no hidden agenda, just the science and what it means for your health. Food number 3, spinach and other nitriteric leafy greens. Spinach is arguably one of the most celebrated vegetables in healthy eating. It is rich in iron, folate, magnesium, and powerful antioxidants. Nutritionists, oncologists, and cardiologists consistently recommend eating more spinach, and they are absolutely right when it is eaten fresh or cooked once and consumed immediately. The problem arises when spinach is stored and then reheated. Spinach, along with celery, beets, lettuce, and Swiss chard, is among the richest dietary sources of naturally occurring nitrates. In their natural form, these nitrates are beneficial. They help support cardiovascular health and contribute to healthy blood pressure regulation. However, once cooked spinach is refrigerated, naturally occurring bacteria on the surface of the leaves begin converting those nitrates into nitrites. This is the same chemical conversion that occurs in cured meats. It is also one of the reasons the World Health Organization classified processed meat as a Group 1 carcinogen in 2015. When spinach that has been refrigerated for 24 hours or longer is reheated, you are applying heat to a vegetable that has already undergone substantial nitrate to nitrite conversion. Under heat, those nitrites can react with amino acids present in the spinach and later in your stomach to produce nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are among the most potent dietary carcinogens identified by modern science. Animal studies have shown that they can induce cancer at remarkably low doses. In addition, epidemiological research consistently associates high nitrosamine exposure with an increased risk of gastric, esophageal, and colorectal cancers. This is not a hypothetical concern created for this video. The European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, has issued formal guidance regarding dietary exposure to nitrates and nitrites from vegetables, specifically warning about the potential risks associated with reheating nitriteric vegetables after they have been stored following cooking. The irony is devastating. One of the healthiest foods on Earth can become a source of carcinogenic compounds simply because of a storage and reheating habit practiced every week by millions of health-conscious people. So what should you do instead? Cook spinach and other leafy greens fresh whenever possible. Eat them immediately after cooking. If you have leftovers, consume them cold within a few hours. Do not refrigerate cooked spinach with the intention of reheating it later. If you absolutely must store it, keep it in an airtight container, consume it within 6 hours, and do not reheat it. Eat it cold instead. Food number 4, eggs. I told you the fourth food would surprise you. Here it is, eggs. Eggs are among the most nutritionally complete foods available. They contain all 9 essential amino acids. They are an excellent source of choline, an essential nutrient that supports brain function. They provide significant amounts of selenium, an important mineral involved in antioxidant defense. And they also contain lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 antioxidants that help protect both eye health and cellular health. By almost every nutritional standard, eggs are one of the healthiest foods you can eat. However, reheating eggs, especially scrambled eggs or hard-boiled eggs, creates a specific and often overlooked chemical problem that very few people discuss. Eggs contain approximately 13% fat, with most of that fat concentrated in the yolk. When an egg is cooked for the first time, the fats in the yolk undergo an initial stage of oxidation. This is a normal and expected process. However, when a cooked egg is refrigerated and then reheated at a high temperature, those already oxidized fats undergo secondary lipid oxidation at a much faster rate. The byproducts produced during this process, particularly malondialdehyde and oxy, are now well documented in the scientific literature. Oxysterols in particular have attracted considerable scientific attention over the past decade. These compounds are oxidized forms of cholesterol that develop specifically when foods containing cholesterol are repeatedly heated. A comprehensive review published in the journal Food and Chemical Toxicology concluded that oxysterols possess pro-athogenic, pro-inflammatory, and most importantly, cytotoxic and genotoxic effects on human cells. Genotoxic. That word is extremely important. It means toxic to the genetic material inside your cells, your DNA. By definition, genotoxic compounds are considered potential carcinogens because they can produce DNA strand breaks and genetic mutations that initiate the chain of events leading to cancer. There is another concern associated with reheated eggs. When cooked egg proteins are exposed to excessive heat for a second time, particularly during rapid microwave reheating, they undergo additional protein denaturation. These proteins form abnormal crosslinks that make them more difficult for your digestive system to break down. Even more importantly, some research suggests that the sulfur-containing amino acids naturally present in eggs, cyan, and methionine can degrade during repeated heating. The degradation products formed from these amino acids may contribute to oxidative stress within the lining of the digestive tract. Oxidative stress affecting the intestinal lining is not a minor issue. Persistent oxidative stress in the gastrointestinal mucosa is considered one of the major proposed mechanisms involved in the development of colorectal cancer, the 3rd most common cancer worldwide, responsible for nearly 1 million deaths every year. So, what should you do instead? Eggs are best eaten immediately after they are cooked. If you prepare eggs in advance, store hard-boiled eggs with their shells still on and eat them cold. Avoid reheating scrambled eggs or omelets in the microwave. If you absolutely need to warm an egg-based dish, use gentle indirect heat, such as a warm water bath or a very low-temperature oven. Never heat egg dishes to temperatures exceeding 165 degrees Fahrenheit. I want to be honest with you about something. When I first began reviewing the scientific research on reheated foods, When I carefully read the literature on nitrosamine formation, heterocyclic amines, and oxysterols, my first reaction was not fear. It was frustration. Frustration because this information is not hidden. It has been published in peer-reviewed scientific journals. It appears in official guidance from the European Food Safety Authority, the World Health Organization, and numerous public health agencies around the world. Yet, somehow, it almost never reaches the dinner table. It is rarely communicated in a way that is clear, practical, and easy for ordinary people to apply in their daily lives. Billions of people make decisions about reheating food every day, not because they are careless, but because they simply have never been given this information. There are children eating reheated rice, spinach, and eggs in their school lunches 5 days a week. There are older adults with weakened immune systems reheating leftover chicken in the microwave simply because they live alone and it is convenient. There are fitness enthusiasts eating reheated high-protein meal prep containers every day, convinced they are maximizing their health, completely unaware that the chemical composition of their food has changed significantly since it was originally prepared. None of these people are doing anything wrong. They simply do not know. Now you do. That is the purpose of this channel. That is the purpose of this video. Not to make you afraid of food, but to provide you with practical evidence-based knowledge that allows you to make smarter, healthier decisions, to help close the gap between what modern science has already discovered and what the general public actually knows. So, let us bring everything together. 4 foods, 4 different biological mechanisms, 1 clear conclusion. Food matters. Food number 1, rice. Reheating cooked rice can reactivate heat-stable bacterial toxins produced by Bacillus cereus and also promote the formation of acrylamide through the reaction of natural sugars with amino acids during repeated heating. Mechanism: bacterial toxin activity and acrylamide formation. Potential: cancer connection, mitochondrial dysfunction, and exposure to a group 2A probable carcinogen. Food number 2, chicken. Reheating cooked chicken at high temperatures promotes the formation of heterocyclic amines, HCAS, through protein oxidation, while also increasing lipid oxidation. Byproducts such as malahide and 4-hydroxynonenal mechanism, protein oxidation, and lipid oxidation, potential cancer connection, direct DNA interaction by HCAS, and an increased risk of colorectal and pancreatic cancers. Food number 3, spinach and other leafy greens. During refrigeration, bacterial activity converts naturally occurring nitrates into nitrites. When these vegetables are reheated, the nitrites can react to form nitrosamines. Mechanism: nitrate to nitrite to nitrosamine conversion. Potential cancer connection: increased exposure to nitrosamines, which has been associated with gastric, esophageal, and colorectal cancers. Food number 4, eggs. Repeated heating of egg yolks, which contain both cholesterol and fat, promotes the formation of oxidized cholesterol derivatives with documented genotoxic activity, as well as secondary lipid oxidation products. Mechanism: cholesterol oxidation and secondary lipid oxidation. Potential cancer connection: DNA damage, oxidative stress affecting the intestinal lining, and an increased risk of colorectal cancer. 3 fundamental biochemical mechanisms appear repeatedly across 4 of the most commonly reheated foods in the world: nitrosamine formation, lipid and protein oxidation, activation of bacterial toxins. This is not fear-mongering. It is food biochemistry that has been repeatedly, consistently, and rigorously investigated in the scientific literature. Now, let me tell you exactly what I want you to do with this information. These are practical, straightforward steps that require no special equipment, no supplements, and no drastic lifestyle changes. Just small, informed decisions that can substantially reduce your long-term exposure to potentially harmful dietary compounds. Cook rice fresh whenever possible. If you store it, cool it within 1 hour, refrigerate it immediately, consume it within 24 hours, and never reheat it more than once. Whenever possible, Eat leftover cooked chicken cold in salads or wraps. If reheating is necessary, use the lowest effective temperature and avoid overheating beyond the recommended safe internal temperature. Do not reheat cooked spinach, Swiss chard, beet greens, or celery. Eat them cold or prepare them fresh instead. Store cooked leafy greens for no longer than 6 hours before consuming them cold. Cook eggs fresh whenever possible. If you prepare hard-boiled eggs in advance, store them unpeeled and eat them cold. Never microwave scrambled eggs or other egg-based dishes. Invest in a food thermometer. Gentle reheating below 165 degrees Fahrenheit or 74.4 degrees Celsius can significantly reduce the formation of many of the compounds discussed in this video compared with high-temperature cooking methods. Avoid reheating any food more than once. 1 cooking, 1 reheating maximum. After that, discard the leftovers. Whenever possible, use a low-temperature oven instead of a microwave when reheating protein-rich foods. Microwave ovens can create uneven localized hot spots that may accelerate oxidation reactions. Plan your meal portions carefully so that you produce fewer leftovers in the first place. That is the single most effective behavioral change you can make. Before I finish, I want to ask you something, and I genuinely want to hear your answer. Which of these 4 foods surprised you the most? Was it rice, the food almost everyone reheats without giving it a second thought? Was it chicken, the protein that millions of people preparing healthy meals consider the gold standard? Was it spinach, the vegetable that virtually every health expert encourages you to eat more often? Or was it eggs? Let me know in the comments below. And if there is a specific food you would like me to investigate in a future video, something you eat regularly or frequently reheat, leave that in the comments as well. I read every single comment. Your questions help shape the research and future videos on this channel. Before we finish, there is one final message I want to leave you with. Think about someone in your life, Snorts, who reheats leftovers without giving it much thought. Perhaps it is a parent, a brother or sister, a college student living on meal-prepped chicken and rice, a spouse who has been reheating leftover spinach throughout the week, or someone who microwaves scrambled eggs every morning because they prepared a large batch on Sunday. They do not know what you know now. And you can change that in less than 10 seconds simply by sharing this video with them. Not to frighten them, not to lecture them, simply to give them the same information that you now have because they deserve the opportunity to make informed decisions about their health just as much as you do. The research is real, the potential risks are real, and the solutions are remarkably simple. Share this video because preventing cancer is not only a personal responsibility, it is also something we can help one another achieve. As always, I want to end with an important clarification. Everything presented in this video is intended for educational and formational purposes only. It is not intended to serve as personal medical advice, a medical diagnosis, or treatment recommendation. The scientific evidence discussed in this presentation reflects findings published in peer-reviewed medical and scientific literature, available at the time this video was produced. Food science continues to evolve rapidly, and recommendations may change as new high-quality evidence becomes available. I strongly encourage you to consult your own physician, registered dietitian, or another qualified healthcare professional before making significant changes to your diet, particularly if you have an existing medical condition. The mission of this channel has always been to translate complex scientific research into clear, practical, and evidence-based information. Not to replace your doctor, not to create unnecessary fear, but to ensure that the same scientific evidence available to researchers and public health professionals is also available to you. Because you deserve nothing less than complete, accurate, evidence-based information about your own health. Thank you for watching. Dr. Stephen Clark.